I was muted for a second. Good morning, MoB family. How's everyone doing? Oh, let me see, make sure I put the text up. Put the comments. We are live. Hello, hello. Let me just type it in. Or make that good instead of God morning. Good morning. I'm putting up the link, so if you on StreamYard, you can click it. And thank you, Chris, for the link. Where is it? Let me see. There it is. Excellent. Hello, everyone. Hi, Facebook user. I don't know who you are, but if you go to that link that's on the screen right now, you can have permission, let them know who you are, and then we'll see your name, or at least type your name in your comment. Hello, John. Good morning. Jim, howdy. How are you? Hope everyone's doing well today. This is episode 84, I want to say. Not certain. I think it's episode 84. Let's see. Episode 84. It looks, if I'm not mistaken, it's episode 84. Let's see. Second cup of Java morning. Yes, I'm on my Death Wish cup. Morning, Dan. How are you? Yes, I can see you now, Linda. I can't believe we're on episode 84. It's amazing. You know how that episode 84, it's every 2 weeks? That's a lot of weeks. Enid, how are you? Good morning. Understand that I say good morning, but you apply whatever time zone you're in. So good morning. Let's get started. We've got 11 people here already. Let's get started. And hello to everyone on YouTube. Good morning, Jasmine. How are you? All right, so the shout outs are YouTube. Shout out to everyone who's watching us on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching us on YouTube. If you haven't gotten together with our channel on YouTube, hashtag villain arriving. Hey, Greg, good morning. You want to go to Bin Peaches Storyteller and just follow us there on YouTube, like, subscribe, and click that notification bell. You'll know every time we have our Kaffeeklatches on YouTube. So we're at Bin Peaches Publishing over there on YouTube. Support us there. So hello to everyone on YouTube. Oh, I can see who's on YouTube in StreamYard because you have the little YouTube logo. So welcome, welcome. On Instagram, we're at Bin Peaches. Hello, Audrey. I haven't put anything on Instagram because right now I am deep in the word cave on Broken Magic. I wanna kind of finish it this weekend because the art. Well, I'll get to that later, but I want to finish it. I want to finish Broken Magic this weekend. Right? I'm pushing hard to get it done. So I think it can be done. But on Instagram, excuse me, we're at Bin Peaches, and I put excerpts from the books there and little tidbits and snippets and things like that from the books. So go to Instagram, follow us at Bin Peaches. Zazzle, we have our store at M&S, EMANDES, and go get your swag. People get the swag. It's Dolly's gonna be working on some new interesting stuff. So go there, get your swag. We got cups, mugs, t-shirts, bookmarks, stickers, all kinds of stuff. So blankets, it's amazing all the stuff that Dolly has created. So go to Zazzle or Zazzle.com EMANDS. Our stores there, and go get your swag. Patreon. We don't have new Patreon, but there will be a new Patreon story coming out at the end of this month. I can't tell you what it's about, except the title is going to be, the title of the story is Java Ambrosia. That's all I can say. And if you're not a patron, you want to sign up and get that one, because that one's going to be a lot of fun. That one is, it's a Monty and Simon story. That's all I can say. So go get it. And you'll have a lot of fun with that. So if you're not a patron, go to Patreon. You can find me. Look, type up Orlando A. Sanchez or Orlando Sanchez, and you can sign up to become a patron. And then you'll get exclusive stories that are only for patrons of Patreon. So go to Patreon and go get it. Newsletter. I'm thinking there might be a newsletter this month. I don't know yet. We'll see. But the end of the month is coming up really fast, and we'll get to that later. But as of the 19th, the Word Cave is closing. So things are gonna be kind of shut down as of the 19th until the beginning of Jan, just to kind of have a few weeks of just a little less stress, just a bit. So I don't know if there'll be a newsletter this month, but definitely next month, January, there's gonna be a newsletter, because there's gonna be a lot happening starting 2023. We're starting the year off with several projects all at once, and things are coming up, and so I'll keep you guys posted as to what's happening. Let me say hello to everyone who came in. So, hello, Kathy, Audrey, Mary Beth. I said hi to Audrey already, but I'm saying again. Good morning, Mary Beth. 3 Facebook users. So I'll just say good morning to all the Facebook users. Well, I'm glad you're here, Enid. Even if you couldn't get through Facebook, you came through YouTube, and that's one of the reasons why we have the YouTube channel, because not everyone comes through Facebook. Some come through YouTube, so that's great. Benna, good morning. Hola, how are you? All right, let's continue. BookBub, just find me on BookBub. Search my name, and you can find me there, and then just follow us on BookBub. And you can leave reviews for the books that you've read. Doesn't have to be anything long. You don't have to write a treatise. Just kind of, I liked it, I enjoyed it. It was really good. Whatever you want to leave, it's okay. Just when it comes to those kind of things, quantity is just as important as quality. And Binge Books, which is rapidly growing as a site. So they have a mobile app, and they're doing a lot of these little virtual cons that they're having. So go to bingebooks.com and find me and add reviews. Same thing. It's just social proof that really helps me as an author, and it helps all the books get kind of visibility, which is really important. Let's see. What is Tammy saying? Hello, Tammy. Good morning. Be honest, you'll evade all our Word Cave traps just for giggles and end up with another new book. This is very true. I'm going to say that up front. Okay. Am I a Discworld fan? Will I celebrate Hogswatch? I won't celebrate Hogswatch, but I'm a huge Discworld fan. Can't stop. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Malcolm. Have a great day, evening, because I think I know you're in the UK. So have a great day. Thank you for stopping by and at least popping in to say hello. I know for those of you who can't, there are a few who told me they couldn't make it. So I'm just going to say hello to all of you who couldn't make it, who'll be watching this broadcast at a later time, because we record it and you can watch it later either on YouTube or on Facebook. And you were missed if you're not here and you're a regular, but we understand life happens. It's near the end of the week. And so thank you for being a regular part of the mob, and we missed you today that you're not here with us. Let's see, Avatar Mike. I'm not seeing the first part of that statement. Let's see, Julian. Hello, Julian. Welcome. Oh, and please express my big hello to Stacy, Jasmine, because I know she always wants to be here, but sometimes she can't make it. So at least she lets you know to tell us hello. All right, I'm gonna take off this link, the current comment, and because it's blocking right on the screen. But if you haven't yet, go to StreamYard.com, Facebook, and give them permission to show your name, and I'll see your name here. FB acts really funky sometimes. Yeah, it does act weird. So this is why we're on StreamYard, actually, because FB was giving us a hassle with the broadcast, and StreamYard is a much more stable platform. Good morning, Wendy. Hello and welcome. Craig, I'm the same thing. You enjoy whichever holiday you celebrate, enjoy it. that's that's my position on holidays. You want to celebrate Christmas, celebrate Christmas, Kwanzaa, there's the lunar holidays, whatever the holiday you feel like celebrating, feel free. Be, have fun, be good to people. That's all. It's really great to hear. What? Oh, one moment. I need to let Dolly know where the car is. It's on 35th, between 90th and 89th on our side. Yeah, so Dolly just left because she went to go get the girls the Valkyries are having half a day today. So she's got to go from one place to the next place, pick them both up and bring them home. Or celebrate all of them, like Jim said. Yeah. Yeah, we miss Stacy. Tell her that, we think of her often. So give her a big hello from everyone here at the MoB. What are we drinking this morning? Julian, what kind of question is that? Look at what we're drinking. Death Wish coffee. I don't want to tip it too much because I'm going to pour it all over this area. Yeah, so Chris, what we do, I do the school runs in the morning, and then I park the car, and then she does the school runs in the afternoon. So if I don't let her know where the car is, she's going to be searching the neighborhood for the car. So we have coordinate systems, like it's on this street and this avenue, between this and this avenue. So we kind of just let each other know where the car is, so we don't have to be searching. We text it to each other, makes it easier. It doesn't matter if you're traditional, Julian. You can celebrate whatever you want to celebrate. That's fine. We don't judge. I'm not judging anyone. So I barely celebrate any holiday. Let's see. Celebrate the kids' birthdays. I celebrate Dolly's birthday, and that's basically it. And I celebrate regular holidays, but I'm not a big holiday person in terms of that. I like Christmas because it's a time when to me personally, it just seems like everyone is nicer around Christmas, and I wish that was the case all year round. So that's why I like Christmas. And snow, but we're not getting any snow this year. Benna says, how far do you have to park from where you live? Not far at all. When I park, where I live, we usually park 1 block away or 2 blocks away. But there's so many places to park that if you don't know where the coordinates are, if you don't know where the car is, you can wander the neighborhood looking for the car. Yeah, Michelle, when I had a house in Long Island or on Long Island, I would park in my driveway. I no longer have that house. So now I park next to my neighborhood. So yeah, so that's basically it. Yeah, but I know it's an alien concept to people. But in New York City, like Jim is saying, alternate side of the street parking sucks. It's bad. You got to switch the car. You got to know which days. Like I can tell you, if you tell me a street in my neighborhood, I can tell you what day it gets cleaned. So yeah. Well, I'm glad Montana isn't that bad. That's good because over here, because parking is at a premium here in the city, at least in Queens where I'm at, this neighborhood, it's hard to find parking sometimes, and so you have to really be diligent about the parking. Oh yeah, Tammy, you can end up parking blocks away from where you're staying, and it's like that. So I guess it's part of an accepted thing when you live in New York that, unless you park, you have a place where you can park in your building or you park at a garage. A lot of people do that. You're going to be looking for parking. And in the outer boroughs, like where I'm at, it's easier to look for parking. So when I had a house on Long Island, I had a 1, 2, 3, 4-car garage. I could park 4 cars in there. But now I don't have the house. I sold the house. So yeah, a 3-car garage is nice. Yes. And having a garage or having a driveway is always nice. You just come in and you just park in your driveway and you're done. You don't have to be looking for parking, which is one of the reasons why I do want to get a house. Just for me, selfishly, just for parking. It's part of that. But you adapt. You live in the city, you take the benefits of the city, and you take the challenges of the city too. Parking is one of the challenges. You can always live in a city without a car. You don't have an issue. But if you have kids, it's hard to be in a city without a car because you got to go here, you got to go there, go to school. Like the kids' school is like far from where we are, so you kind of need the car. Or else you have to take mass transit, and that's tough. In New York City, mass transit is like, it's tough. Riding the bus is not bad in my neighborhood. Riding the train is always an adventure in New York City. Doesn't matter where you are; it's always an adventure. So yeah. Yeah, I never lived in the sticks. When I lived in the sticks in Long Island, it wasn't really the sticks, but I was a good, I want to say, hour and a half away from Manhattan, which is considered the sticks. Everything is based on driving. So yeah. 7 train for me. Yep, Jim. 7 train is the only train in my neighborhood until you get to 74th Street, which is the hub, the main hub. And then I can get the E, F, R, I want to say. So it's a major hub. But 7 train for sure. Oh yeah, if you suffer motion sickness, like a long time ago, the kids used to, every time they'd get in the car, they would get motion sickness, and it's really, really unpleasant. It really is. So yes, Montana is the sticks. Yes, I would imagine Montana, but it's a big sky country, right? So you got a lot of open space, and again, it's pros and cons. So it's the sticks, but when you look out, you get to see all this open land. You don't see that in a place like New York. You see a lot of buildings. You know, unless you're maybe in Central Park, that's as much as you're gonna get of open land. And Long Island, which is kind of it's part of New York, but you don't get open land like you see in Montana or places like that. So it's a trade-off, right? All right, let's get to some of the book and audio updates. But before I get to that, let's do. So we don't have author links this week because it fluctuates. So it varies from week to week, from Kaffeeklatsch to Kaffeeklatsch. But let's just say that we support our indie authors. Go get the books of all the authors you know. You've got Chris, who's with us, Chris Chrisman, John Logsdon, Ben Zackheim, Kimber Swain, Nazi Noor, so Rick Gualtieri. You know all the usual suspects. Go get their books. Stephanie Fox. Go get their books. I'm sure some I'm missing right now. Brad Magmarella. There are a bunch of authors that we support that are indie authors. I know quite a few. I couldn't list all of them, but they're indies. They're part of us. They're part of the mob. Most of them are in the mob. A lot of them are in the mob. So go get their books and support them, please. It would be awesome if you did that, especially now around the holiday season. It really does help the authors. Let's see what we got here. It's hard to get good caviar. It's hard to get good caviar in Montana. I would imagine it's hard unless you have a specialty store that kind of caters to that kind of food. I guess is considered luxury food. Facebook user says, I'm lucky that I'm a block away from the light rail station, but getting stuff home is a pain. Yeah, because you got to carry it from the station. Yeah. But a light rail is not bad. Being a block away is really good. I live in the middle of nowhere, Missouri. Yeah, I've never been to Missouri, but I know that it's open. It's like it reminds me of like Montana, right? It has these open spaces. So, which I don't mind. Like when we take Valkyrie #1 to camp, and it's in Vermont. It's beautiful in Vermont. I mean, there's a reason why it's called Vermont. It's green, and it's really, really green. So I like being in those open spaces, but only to a certain degree. I mean, I'm fine there, but I really do like being in the city. And for me, the city has a certain energy, a kind of vibrant energy for me, it feels alive, you know? So as much as I enjoy the open spaces and the big open spaces and the green, I also enjoy being in the city and the grittiness of the city. But that's just me. Craig says, my aunt has motion sickness so bad she cannot play video games or watch most entertainment with fast elements. Right, there are a lot of video games that come with that warning of if you have epilepsy or motion sickness, then this is not the game for you. And it's true that a lot of people just can't deal with all those moving elements. What's time is it? I grew up in the sticks. We were excited when the grocery store opened up. Under 30 minutes, yeah. That reminds me of like my sister who lives in Virginia has to drive everywhere because even though she's kind of like in a community in the town, the nearest store is like 10, 15, 20 minutes away. So it's like that. Wendy says, yeah, no VR for me. Funny you would say that. The Warrior just got an Oculus, and he's having a lot of fun. I haven't tried it yet because, I'm in the middle of so many things. But he's looking like he's having a lot of fun. I just see him and Zoya kind of waving their arms around and swinging things. And so he's having a lot of fun with that stuff. Oh, you know where to buy caviar. Okay. Dan, it's true. And welcome, Dan. The city never sleeps. I can say with complete certainty that New York City never sleeps. It doesn't matter at what time of the day or night that you go out, something is moving in New York City. Either there's traffic or people are on the street. Even when I go out for my walks at 4 o'clock in the morning, there's traffic. There's some cars. Not much because it's 4 o'clock in the morning, but there's still traffic. Yeah. Count ads. Yeah, okay. I don't know what that is, but okay, Julian. Oh, this was in Virginia, where to find caviar. Oh, that was in Virginia in 30 minutes. Oh, wow. That's pretty far away. A 30-minute drive to get to the store would dissuade me from going to the store regularly. I would start shopping at a Costco or something, some kind of club where I can just get things in bulk, so I wouldn't have to go to the store that often. So you're 20 minutes east or 20 minutes west from two towns, Enid. Wow. Yeah, see, I get it. I can wrap my head around that concept, but being someone who I can walk 2 minutes and there's a store in any direction from where I'm at, I like that convenience. I also like the fact that I have places that are open 24 hours a day. So I have like CVS, I have Walgreens, I have Rite Aid, I have places that are other stores that are open 24 hours a day. So no matter what time I wake up, let's say at 2 o'clock in the morning, I got to get something, I know I can get something. And I know some places, like when I visit my sister, 9 o'clock, sometimes 8, things are closed. I'm like, the concept is just alien to me. What do you mean it's closed? It's like, you can't access it. So it's like, you gotta wait till tomorrow. It's so strange. That whole concept is strange to me. Welcome, Paige. 30 minutes from the store, but we had a farm. Yeah, if you have a farm and you grow your own food, that's pretty awesome. You don't have to really worry about getting stuff from somewhere else. I'm sounding like Billy Crystal City Snickers. Yeah, I could see that being the case for sure, Wendy. Northern Michigan, Walmart is 5 minutes away, and the nearest, I missed it, was it Walmart is 5 miles? Oh, and the nearest city is 2 hours away. Wow, that's far. That is far. Northern Michigan deals in hours more than 30 minutes. Whoa, living in a bigger city still means, yeah, I have about a 20-minute, 30-minute drive to Costco, but it's still close. It's not too far. But 2 hours to the city that's a long drive. You're planning a whole day because it's 2 hours going, 2 hours coming back, whatever you're gonna do in the city. So it's basically you planning your whole day. That's good though. So you have a Dollar General, Enid. That's good. 3 miles. So you can walk it, but it's not convenient. Oh, let's see. And sardines never have to leave their can to visit their friends. This is true. I consider myself a sardine in the city for sure. Right, yeah. See, if I could have what Tammy has, which is like 4 grocery stores in walking distance and howling wilderness on speed dial, that's perfect. See, if they were like, because if you've ever been to Las Vegas, right? The first time I went to Nevada, Las Vegas, right? It was amazing to me because I'm sitting in the hotel and I'm looking out at this city, but the city has a very distinct border. So when you look out on the city, like the hotel's pretty high, so I was on one of the top floors, and I'm looking out at the city has a very definite end. And then beyond the city, it's this open desert. It's like nothing. You don't want to, there's nothing, you walk, it's like there's nothing there. You're out in the middle of nowhere. So I wouldn't mind that because that means you can go out into the howling wilderness, as Tammy calls it, and get your fill of just being there and then come back into the city. That would be awesome. Welcome, Marie. Welcome. 10 minutes and I'm in the wilderness. Yeah, I'd have to travel quite far to get into wilderness from where I'm at, for sure. There's a difference between the Twin Cities. St. Paul closes before 10. Minneapolis closes around 2 a.m. Oh, yeah, because Minneapolis, Minnesota, yeah, it's called the Twin Cities, for sure. Right, so I don't have howling wilderness anywhere near me. No. I have strange people if I go pretty far out, but not howling wilderness. All right, let's get to some more updates. So just a big FYI. This is the last Kaffeeklatsch of the year. We're not having another one until January 13th. So until next year. So this is the last one of the year. So I want to early say Happy New Year, and have a great end of your year. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever holiday you celebrate, awesome, and Happy New Year, because this is our last one. Chris, that's so true. You have children, you have wilderness. I have wilderness just on the other side of the door to my bedroom, because when you have kids, the wilderness is on demand. It's like right there. So yeah, just gotta set them free, and it's like, whoa, So you have wilderness at all times. It's really much on top. That kind of wilderness. All right, so Broken Magic, the book that I'm currently working on, it should be done over the weekend. The art, I'm looking at the art opening on the 20th, which is Tuesday. So if you see me looking, I'm looking at the calendar. So on the 20th, the art for Broken Magic should be open, and I understand it's Christmas on Saturday, and it is what it is. So if you can do the shred, do the shred. If you can't do the shred, I understand. Life happens. It's the holidays. Family comes to visit. You go to visit family. I totally, totally get it. So if you can shred, you shred, and if you can't, I get it. So don't feel like, oh my God, I can't shred because I'm preparing food for my family and they're visiting me, or I gotta go visit someone. There's always another shred, So don't feel like I'm gonna be upset or you're gonna be obligated, or shred if you can shred. I've always had that position that your family comes first, your health, and you gotta prioritize these things. So if you can shred, awesome. If you can't shred, completely understandable. It's okay. When will it be released? Probably by the 26th, the 27th, Chris. So just right after Christmas. So it's like Christmas reading. So right after it'll be released. Okay. Shredding, not sharing. Yes, shredding. I've never had to I've just had this conversation with Zoya about saying in her conversations. But I've never had to give that kind of warning to the shredders about not sharing, because they all know that they're getting the book ahead of time, and it's a matter of trust. So I never had to say, you're just shredding, you're not going to share this with anyone. So I don't think it's necessary. Plus, it's really limited to who has access to the book. So why would you want to do something like that when I know who it could be? And then you just get banned from shredding ever again. That wouldn't be very cool, So Dan says, I really want to know where the Golden Circle has been moved to. I'm so hoping it's off Plain, address number 1 Silk Street. Because you all know Silk is the man for sure. It's definitely off Plain, but I can't tell you where yet. But it will come up in book 20. So we're on book 18. Book 20, which is called Entropy. The things that I come up with where the Golden Circle has been moved to, for sure. Yeah, trust. It's implicit, Chris. Like the trust for the shredders and the art is implicit. I have never felt the need to have to say, and make sure you don't share the book. That's, for me, it's understood. I think it's understood. It should be understood, so it's not an issue for me. All right, let's continue. So the art opens on the 20th. So be prepared if you're a shredder, and you shred the best that you can. Let's see. Craig is saying population density brings convenience at the loss of space. Yeah, it does actually. Like Huntsville, where I'm at, has 400,000 people in a 15 square miles of city. In a comparison to me with 8 million-ish in a much denser footprint. Yeah, it's true. It's very different in terms of a lot more people so places like New York go up, right? Other places where there aren't that many people go wide, because you don't need to go up because there are less people. It's not as dense in terms of population, right? And I don't mind when places go up like New York, because I like looking at the skyscrapers and things like that. But I also enjoy these wide open spaces too. So yeah, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you too, Enid. It's, Jim. So you gotta. I hope I didn't miss you, but you gotta go. Have a fantastic holiday. Same to you, Mary Beth. Chaos is mere steps away, Michelle, for sure. I have a lot of controlled chaos. Linda, have a great weekend and a fantastic holiday. Thank you so much for dropping in. All right, so the new Patreon story named Java Ambrosia, which is all I can say, which deals with Monty and Simon, will be out at the end of December. So that'll be a lot of fun. I can't say any more than that. I apologize, but it's a Patreon story. So it's kind of, hush-hush, classified, need-to-know kind of thing. So I can't really go into detail, but that's when it will be out. The audiobook, Stormblood, it's with ACX, so I really can't do much about it in terms of they get it out when they get it out. And I think it has a lot to do with also the time of the year, so we'll see. But once it's live, you will know for sure. Secret Project. Oh, so if you see me looking at it's because I'm reading the agenda for the show, the notes for the show. The Secret Project cover reveal on the 22nd. So the 22nd which is next week Thursday, Art Thursday, I'll reveal the cover to the Secret Project, and you guys can see it and go, whoa, or ooh, I don't like that. Benno wants to know, will the Patreon stories ever be published? I don't think so, because the Patreon stories are exclusive stories for the patrons, and I want the patrons to feel like they have something that's their own, and the fact that they're patrons and they join Patreon, they should have something that's exclusive to them. So publishing them will kind of defeat that. So it's not. I don't foresee it being published. Benna, I don't see it happening anytime in the future, because the whole purpose of being a patron, aside from supporting the books and me, it's to have something that's yours as a patron, something special for you as a patron. So it's not, I don't gate these behind the patron in a way, because they're exclusively just for patrons. So I guess I do gate them in a way, but these are stories that are just for patrons. Mark asks, well, what about another Iker story? It sort of ended on a... Yes, I'll get back to Iker in 2023 for sure, and then it'll be a longer story. There are a lot of dangling stories or storylines and trilogies that need to get completed, closed up, and finished. Iker will have a longer story for sure. Yeah, Iker's a great character set in the same world. Wendy has a question. In martial arts, is there actually a series of strikes that can basically freeze your opponent up, or is that more Hollywood FX based? It's not so much freeze the opponent, but you can strike nerve clusters, and that can inhibit movement. Not so much freeze like you can't move, you're stuck, but you can't, like, it'll be harder to raise an arm or move a leg. There's a wonderful nerve in the leg, in the thigh area, where if you hit it hard enough, it crumples the leg. So it's like you can't move, you can't stand. Same thing as a plexus in the shoulder, where if you hit it hard enough, lifting your shoulder too high or punching or executing a technique, it's very difficult. So it's not like Hollywood where you just stay frozen like this, but it makes it harder to move. Yeah. Or like getting hit in the solar plexus, which is you get hit hard enough, you lose your air, things like that. So it leaves you like you can't move or you can't feel. It's very similar to sleeping on your arm, right? If you sleep on your arm and your arm falls asleep, you get all the pins and needles, you can't move it. Just imagine that happening right away after an impact. It gets kind of like gets numb and tingly, and it doesn't really want to listen to what you want to do. So stuff like that, yeah. If you need to pursue that in depth, Wendy, feel free to PM me, and I can go into more detail about stuff like that. Right, like reflexology, very similar, but in martial arts, it's an intention to strike to inhibit movement. So it's different. I don't know that much about reflexology, but I know in martial arts, when you do it, it's because you want to stop a body part from attacking you or moving. Yeah, so it's with a very specific intent. Yeah, Dan is saying he knows plenty of nerve strikes that leave you briefly numb, speaking from experience. Yeah, there are a lot of strikes to nerves. You can't depend on nerve strikes all the time because people have different tolerances to the nerve strike and pain, and not all bodies react the same way, which is why it's better to rely on biomechanical things, like all arms bend the same way, your hand bends a certain way, fingers bend a certain way. So you manipulate those things as opposed to hitting nerves, because not everyone reacts to nerve strikes. Chris says, I feel like someone was punching me in the arm all night. Yeah, sometimes that's what happens. You know, it's like I know sometimes when I'm training, if I sleep on my shoulder a certain way, I'm gonna feel it in the morning because it just gets tight and then it feels like it's impinged. Marie, thank you so much for dropping in, and have a great weekend. Happy holidays, and take care. Bye bye, Marie. All right, so the next book that's coming in early 2023 will be Nocturne Melody. So that's a Gray and Coda story, Night Warden story. Yeah, joint locks, Aikido, Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, Michelle, all those work very well. Aikido I studied for 2 years. Jiu-Jitsu and Judo I studied for much longer. I would use more the Jiu-Jitsu moves because they're designed to really stop the opponent. You know, Aikido requires, for me, this is my opinion. This is not a critique of the art. It's just my opinion. When I was studying it, Aikido requires so much cooperation from the other person. Whereas Jiu-Jitsu is like, you're going to cooperate whether you want to or not, because I'm going to put your body into such a position that you're going to cooperate, regardless of whether you want to. Aikido is a little bit more, when Ueshiba was designing the art, it was definitely more defense. So it's very soft in that regard. It doesn't have attacks so much as it takes a person's strength and energy and then redirects it somewhere else. So it's very different. So yes, the next book is going to be a Night Warden book. And in Broken Magic, I guess I can tell you this much without spoiling the story. Gray makes a cameo appearance he makes a cameo appearance near the end of the book. So that's about all I can say about that. But yeah, so Nocturne Melody is next. It's going to be a fun story. I already have the outline for it. And so I'll be doing, so this is the project for the early next year. Nocturne Melody, Lost Runes, and The Secret Project will all be written kind of at the same time. They're going to be overlapping. So it's going to be like 1, 2, 3, you know? Craig asks, with the Word Cave closing, are you pushing to publish before you break, or just prepping for the early Jan return? My apologies if we covered this already. No, Broken Magic comes out the 20th. So the Word Cave will be closed, but Broken Magic goes out to the art, even if the Word Cave is closed. And then it'll be out while the Word Cave is closed during the break of, you know, because it'll be closed from the 19th to the 2nd or 3rd of January. But in that time, Broken Magic goes out to all you guys. So don't worry about that. But the early January return is going to be Nocturne Melody, Lost Runes maybe, and The Secret Project, all happening kind of simultaneously. At least that's the plan. We'll see. Early parts of the year can get a little hectic, but that's the initial plan, to do those 3 kind of overlapping each other, so there's not much of a break between books. And I want to get to a lot of short stories that need to be finished, like short story arcs that need to be done, so they're just not hanging out there. And, you know, my usual policy of writing a novel and a short story was kind of interrupted with Revenant and Blood Lessons. So I'm going to do Broken Magic now, Lost Runes, and Nocturne Melody, and The Secret Project. So those are going to be a lot of fun. And I'm kind of anxious and excited to get back to the Night Warden stories. And it was really fun to write Gray into Broken Magic. So I'm really kind of itching to get back to Night Warden, even though, as I've always said, Night Warden requires a different headspace. So it'll be interesting to write some more Gray. Also, oh yeah, this is good news. No, that's all good news, right? We're working on the website. So this, you guys are hearing it first. I think I've shared this with the pack, but this, guys, we're revamping the author website. So when you get a moment, it's still under construction, but it's live. So things are being added, things are being changed. I just have brand new covers for the free books done. They're all new, they're all redone. And I'll put up a mock-up of the cover on the MoB later. But so go to www.orlandoasanchez.com. Let me type it in case you guys haven't seen it. www.orlandoasanchez.com. Here it is. And I'm going to put it up. Go there, visit, test it out, check out all the different areas. Yes, there are books missing in the Monty and Strong series. I think the last book that was put up on the site was Divine Intervention, and we're at Broken Magic. So got to put up Stormblood, Revenant, Blood Lessons, and eventually Broken Magic. So, but go check a look, see, kind of check out all the different areas. Let me know what you guys think about it. Chris is saying it looks awesome. I like how it looks. It's amazing. And I didn't do this. This is Dolly and the web designer. That was her whole area. She's amazing that way. And I just kind of said, you need to do this, or we need to add that, and then they made it happen. So go there, check it out. Let me know what you guys think, because it was a lot of work to get done. And it's almost done, but it's still under construction. So we're going to add some things, tweak some things, change some things. So it's under construction. But it's live, and so you should go have fun and check it out. I'm taking this down. If you haven't, I'm taking this link down. Okay, what else have we got? Oh, good. So we got time. It's going down. Oh, there you go. Fantastic. So I'm a bit, what's the word? Punchy, because I've been writing like a madman the last few days, and not because I'm like way ahead of my writing. It's because, Craig, take care. Oh, it's weapon test. Whoa. Okay, yeah. As long as they're not testing it right where you are, that's good. So, Craig, thank you so much for visiting, and #villain. Have a great holiday season. So I've been writing. This happens to writers a lot. I know it happens to me when I usually get to the end of the book. And I know you guys have said your books are like, they start off like a roller coaster, and they get to the top, and then they just a mad rush to the end. So what's been happening to my brain, this is what happens usually when I write the books, is that once I get past certain parts, the book kind of it wants to get away from me. It wants to rush to the end, and I kind of have to bring it back. This is why books go feral. And so even when I go to sleep, I still have ideas I want to write. And I'll stop and I'll do something. And even if I stop doing something, I'll drift off into something, a book problem or a book situation. And so that's just been happening the last week or so. I've just been in the middle of this of Broken Magic, all these ideas fighting each other and trying to kind of like, it's like trying to wrangle cats. I'm trying to like, okay, get here, and I'll jot this down and I'll write this down. And so my brain is a little like, whoa, because I've been busy trying to make sure I manage all these crazy story ideas, and get them into some kind of order so that they make sense in the story itself. And then there are times when I'm writing and I'm like, this makes no sense. What the heck? And then but I know it makes sense. It's just that it's in that moment I'm not seeing everything I need to see, or I'm seeing too much. And I'm thinking about how this connects to this and this and that. So it's like watching, it's very much like Sid speaking to other Sids. You're seeing many timelines all at once. And it can be disconcerting at times. And so sometimes I need to like just take a break, walk away from the book, do something else that's not writing related, and then come back to it. But yeah, it's like Chris said, you're in the zone, and there's a lot of word juggling, and it's just nonstop. Like I'll even sometimes stop in the middle of writing, and I'll try to just stop and close my eyes for a little while. And even when I close my eyes to kind of just get away from the writing, I'll have ideas come at me, like, and then I'll have to get up and like write them down. So it's like nonstop. And this is why I say it's very hard for me personally to have writer's block, because writer's block, from my experience, is when you close yourself off to ideas. Because you can get ideas from anywhere. At least I believe that you can get ideas from anywhere as a writer, as an author. You can pretty much create ideas from anything and anywhere in your life. But if you close yourself off to those ideas, or there's fear there, that creates that kind of writing paralysis where you don't want to jump into the story. Because for whatever reason, there's many reasons that create that, So that's been my state of mind for the last week or so, because I'm nearly approaching the end of the book, and I know that usually happens when I approach the end of the book. It gets really hectic in my head. This is why I always say it's a scary place in my brain, because it gets like that, and sometimes even I don't recognize what's happening in my brain. But it makes for great stories. It really does. And then sometimes I'll go back and read the story, and I'm like, when did I write this? So, yeah, Dan, a director's cut of some of my books would be something else. And I'm still kind of toying with the idea of having bloopers in the backs of the books. But I don't think I can do that with Monty and Strong. I really do think that's kind of something for Bangers and Mash, which is another group of short stories that I want to get to and finish. Well, not finish, but like get to finishing a few of them, because there's just so much fun to write. And I know it's very polarizing, Bangers and Mash. Some people think Bangers and Mash is hilarious, and then some people go, "Oh, I can't read Bangers and Mash. It just doesn't work for me." And it's interesting, because those same people who say it doesn't work for them will read other things and go, "Oh, that was great." And this is why I tell writers and authors, you are not the best judge of your work, because you never know what a reader's going to say. They'll say, "This is fantastic." "Oh, this is horrible." And you could be thinking, "This is great." And a bunch of readers will tell you, "Oh, I didn't like that so much." So just write what you enjoy writing, and some people will love it, and some people will not love it as much. Put it that way. And you just have to keep going. I always say, finish your book, write your book, get to the next book. Don't dwell on that one that you just finished too much, unless there's like mistakes or errors or things that need to be fixed. But once you finish your book, start the next book right away. But and that's my process. You start the book right away. I try never to sit on a book that's finished for too long. Once I finish the book, I'll just go right to the next book. Let's get started. Jasmine, fantastic! Thank you so much for coming by and visiting and dropping in. Let's see. You gotta head out here, pretend to work so you can get paid. Go pretend to work so you can get paid. Happy everything. Have a great holiday season. Please give my regards to Stacy. So I said happy holidays, and thank you so much for popping in. And have a great weekend. Yes, I think you're in a large population that would beat Bangers and Mash over their head with a cast iron skillet repeatedly. So, and that's good, because Bangers and Mash, if that's your desire, if that's what it gets out of you, if that's what it creates, that's exactly what it's intended to do. You want to smack them upside the head with an iron skillet. Michelle says, Bangers and Mash puts me in the mind of like the Muppets being inserted into the middle of a Marvel movie. That's a great metaphor, but I think that's perfect. Bangers and Mash is it's very tongue in cheek. It's not supposed to be taken seriously, so that's what it's designed to do. So if it gets you that result, that reaction, or like Jasmine's where you want to smack them upside the head with an iron skillet, that's working as designed. That's perfect. What is Heather saying? Definitely ideas strike like lightning. Yes, I always tell writers and authors, always carry something to write ideas with. Write them down. So, and I've said this story before. In the middle of Secret Blue, I was telling the tribe yesterday. It was in the middle of the series of Secret Blue, book 3 out of 5, and that's when I started writing the first treatment for Monty and Strong. And I showed it to John Logsdon. I showed it to a few other people, and they said, "You need to stop whatever you're doing and write this now. This is your voice. This is what you need to do." And so it happens that way. You get ideas in the middle. While you're working on something, you'll get an idea for something else. That's how every story that I've written has happened. While I'm in the middle of one thing, I'll get ideas for a different story or a different character or a different setting or something. That's the way it is. Like Wendy says, yes, Bangers and Mash can be annoying. They actually are very annoying, but they do serve a purpose. Yes. Michelle, have a happy holiday. Go pick up the baby blues from school and go start your holidays. For a lot of kids, today is the last day of school until winter break, and they come back in January something. So, yeah, go have a great holiday, Michelle. Thank you so much for dropping in and saying hello. Let's see. So we've got, what time is it? 12:40, 12:20. So we've got 20 minutes. All right, let me get to the questions now. so I don't run out of time. And I don't want to rush the questions. So I'm switching screens, guys, so I can't see your text. So keep writing, but I understand that I cannot see your text right now because I'm flying solo today because Dolly's not here, but she'll be back in a little while. All right, so questions in the post. First question from Audrey. First question. So this is for me. What literary pilgrimage have you gone on? I don't really know what qualifies as a literary pilgrimage. So I don't know how to really answer that question, Audrey. So I don't know if I've gone on any literary pilgrimages or would like to go on. Oh, I don't know. I've never really given it thought. What would consist of a literary pilgrimage? I guess I'd have to find out what that meant first and then see if I want to go on one. And the other thing is having the time to go on one. That would be the hard part. Dolly's not here, but her question is, when was the last time you totally, this is a question from Audrey to Dolly, when was the last time you totally and completely unplugged? I would say she unplugs every night when she goes to bed because there's no electronics, nothing. So that would be the time that she unplugs. But that's my answer for her. I'm sure I'll keep it for the next MoB, for the next Kaffeeklatsch, and ask her then. Orlando, what is a mispronunciation that drives you nuts? I don't really have any mispronunciations that drive me nuts because language is a fluid thing, although there are rules and structures. But a lot of people, who was it that said this? I think it was Mark Twain, but it was regarding spelling, that said, you can't consider yourself educated unless you could spell a word in like 10 different ways, the same word in 10 different ways or something like that. I'm kind of like that with mispronunciation. I don't have a pet peeve about pronouncing certain words a certain way. Because it depends. There's culture involved, there's education, there's conditioning. You might have heard a word pronounced a certain way your whole life, so you're going to pronounce it that way. And so, yes, there are phonetic rules for certain words, or for all words, obviously, but the pronunciation it kind of varies from person to person. Not even that, it varies from region to region. So in New York, you say car. In Boston, you say car. It's the same word, but pronounced differently. So there's that kind of impact of being a region. You have accents. When I went to London, I was bombarded by words that I thought I understood, but were completely pronounced a different way. So I don't have any mispronunciations that drive me nuts, really. Larry asked, oh wow, it's a question from Larry Tushman. Status updates on the Wander satchel have been scanned recently. I have hidden it so well, and the Valkyries have been busy. So I'm trying not to alert them to its location. But the moment that it strikes them, they start to search again, and then I'd have to relocate it again. I've gotten really good at keeping it out of sight, but I wanted to start using it again because when I was using it regularly, they were like coveting it. So I stopped for a little while, and I kind of hit it. But now I know that once I start using it again, it starts getting I start getting side eyes and oh, I like your satchel. So things like that. So they're never taking permanent possession of that, ever. I don't care how old they get, they're never taking permanent possession of that one. That one stays with me forever. So thank you for the question, Audrey. Thank you for the question, Larry. I hope that update works. Chris Chrisman asks, what books are you hoping to release in 2023? I'm hoping to release Lost Runes, Entropy, Archmage, and a few others. But those three I'm hoping to release in 2023 are Monty and Strong. Then a bunch of the short story novellas that kind of fit in between those in terms of length. And I think there's a lot of the little novellas I'm thinking to release, so that should kind of fill out the year. But I'll let you know. And also I'm thinking about releasing 2 from the Secret Project and maybe another Night Warden towards the end of the year, because I haven't done a lot of Night Wardens. So I want to kind of start making that series a little bit more robust. Great question, Chris. Next question also from Chris Christmas says, "How have you thought about doing a special MoB show, just about writing? for all the author writers in the group show. Oh, maybe try the room feature. I think that would be a great idea to have a special, maybe not a Kaffeeklatsch, but an authors writers show, a special episode just for the author writers, and then we can kind of making a little longer and have very specific subjects that we can kind of discuss and ideas that for authors at every part of their journey of being an author. So I think that's a great idea. I think we should schedule it for next year and do something like that. Yeah, I think that's great. I'm definitely gonna you and I will discuss that, but I think that's a great idea, Chris, to have a author-centric show for all the new authors or the not even new veteran authors that can share their experience and help out the new authors for sure. Michelle said bye Michelle. So Heather says that happened when I was going through and tweaking, ended up with a mage named after Scottish play. Didn't mention his name and disaster strikes. Yeah, so it's stuff like that. As you're writing one thing, who was it that said that? I think it was Louis L'Amour said that the faucet of inspiration or something. This is a paraphrase. Don't quote me on this. But inspiration comes when you're working on something else. So the faucet of inspiration flows when you're in the middle of other work. That's a paraphrase, right? So it's like as you're working on one project, because you're in this flow of creativity, you'll start getting ideas for other projects, or you get ideas that reside within that same project, but on tangents. And you shouldn't dismiss those. What you should do is take a moment, write them down if you need to, or explore them and see if they can work in the story or in the creative process that you're doing. But if they can't, then maybe take a moment, write them down, and revisit them later on. It's a really, really good thing to do that way, because that way you don't lose the idea, because ideas come and go so fast. So you don't know if you need to pursue every idea. I have a lot of ideas. I don't pursue them all. But some of them stick. And the ones that stick with you, the ones that haunt you, the ones that are with you morning and night, and the moment when you have a moment to think, they come back to you and say, oh, those are the ones you got to start thinking about, writing them down and then kind of pursuing them and expanding on them, you know? Yeah, so New Jersey, pronounced city. Yeah, it's different. And let's see, from where I'm from in Queens, in New York City, but you know, it depends on where you're from. You can pronounce things differently. And what happened to me when I was in the UK, when I was in London, it just took me a while to develop the ear. I had to keep hearing people speak, and then after a while, I was able to understand the different pronunciations of words because of the English accent, the British accent, right? Yes, and then also, as a writer, it's always good to have amazing people around you that drop weird ideas into your brain. So I have basically everyone in the pack does that to me. They drop ideas into my brain, or they'll mention something, or sometimes Larry and Tommy will have conversations, and they'll say something, and I'll go, you know, I'm gonna have to steal that, right? So things like that. And you can be hearing conversations that have nothing to do with what you're working on, but there's a part of whatever you've heard, there's an idea that's in the center of that comment that you know works so well with what you're doing. And so as an author, as a writer, or as a creative person, you need to keep yourself open to those moments that these little creative parts will come and kind of they introduce themselves into your life. And so you need to be open to that, you know? Wendy says, I need to have that one part of my brain busy so the other can relax and free flow. Even listening to music can help me like that. This is why, and I totally agree with that, Wendy. When I write with music, which drives some authors crazy. Like some authors need complete silence. They can't write with any music. And I write with vocal trance going on in the back of my head, because what it does is it shuts up the censor. You know, that part of your brain that says, that's not that good, or you could have wrote that better. It kind of distracts that part of my brain and lets me write. And then I can get the story out, and I go back with my editing brain and kind of look at the story and, you know, kind of start fixing things. But the writing part, it's like the old saying, write hot, edit cold. You write fast, get that out, get that story out of you. I've never been an author who really edits as they write. I can go back, like if I've written something, when I start the writing for the day, I go back one chapter maybe, and I call it robustifying, and I can make the chapter more robust. I'll add something here, a sentence here, a description here, but I don't edit it. I'll just add stuff to it. I want to get the story out. Once the story is done, I can go back cold and then look at the entire story and start. Okay, this needs to go, or I need to change this, or wait, this doesn't make sense continuity wise. I got to put this before this, and so forth and so on. But I try to never do that when I'm writing, because what it does is it delays your story, and then you don't get to the story because you're not making forward progress. You're writing and editing. But that's just me. I know a lot of authors who write and edit at the same time, and they produce what they call a very clean first draft. I can't do that, but there are authors who do, who write and edit at the same time. It's very true. Sometimes putting in the earbuds help, and you even forget to turn on music. Yeah, because you condition yourself, right? So you put the earbuds in, and part of your brain goes, okay, we're gonna get into writing right now. And so even putting earbuds in, because what they do is they diminish outside noise. Then it's not complete, but I use headphones like this, right? These are really cool headphones, and these are noise dampening. They're like dynamic stereo headphones, and they're made studio headphones, and they're made to, like, when I put them on, if Dolly says something to me, I gotta take them off to listen because I completely can't hear anything else. And I crank up my music, and if you were able to hear the volume at what I'm listening at, and then I'm writing, you'd be like, how do you write with music that loud in your head? That's just what works for me. And that's been my process. That's the way it's always worked for me. I can write without music, but I write better with music on. So that's just the way my brain operates, my writing brain operates. Everyone is different in that regard. And the tangents, going back to that, it's like what Chris is saying. Not just writers, it's any creative. You can be painting, you can be sculpting, you can be doing anything that's creative. As you're doing that, it's interesting how it works, and it's interesting how brains work. As you're seeing what you're doing, tangents start forming in your brain about this relates to this, or this relates to that. And you can pursue those tangents knowing that what you're currently working on may not be making as much progress as it should. And that's why I always say, especially to the authors, because we do go down rabbit holes, whether it's research or new story ideas. Right? It's just you're writing a story, you get a tangent, keep a pad, keep something, write it down, get it out of your head, and then focus on the story you're writing and get the story done. Like, it's so important to finish what you start. If it's flowing the way it needs to flow, finish what you start, get it done, go to the next thing, or go. Then you can visit the tangents. What happens to a lot of authors is that you start something, and then we become completely ADD, right? We like, look, a new shiny story. Because what happens is, as you're writing a story, there always comes this time, usually around the middle of the story, sometimes a little bit past the middle of the story, where you're done. I don't want to do this story anymore. I can't stand this story. It's just dragging. It's the slog. It's the middle. I don't know which way to go. And that's usually when, look, new shiny story idea comes out. And then you are pursuing that, and the story that you're working on languishes. It just kind of stays there, like, ooh, like Chris would say, ooh, shiny, new story, different characters. This is exciting. I'm going to go pursue that. Meanwhile, the story you're there is like, really? Hello? We still have stuff to do here. So it happens to every author. I mean, it's happened to me. It's kind of how Mounting Storm came to be, if you think about it. And it took me years to get back to, very much, squirrel, where? It took me years to get back to sepia, right? You guys know the story. And so that is something that can happen, and it's hard to go back to the story after, let's say, 4 years, which is what happened to me with sepia. So you kind of want to avoid that. And it's hard to avoid. You want to avoid neglecting a story for 4 years. That's what you want to do. You're not going to be able to avoid the new story idea, the shiny coming at you, because it never fails. When stories get tough, and usually around the midpoint, when they get hard, your brain, to deal with the difficulty that you're facing, will go to the tangent and look for something new, something exciting, something, undiscovered. That's the normal reaction that a brain has. What's hard is, as a writer, as an author, is those three P's: passion, perseverance, and patience. You gotta have those three to finish a project. It doesn't matter if it's a book or any other thing. You gotta have the passion to write it, you gotta have the patience to write it, and the perseverance to write it. It's hard, okay? Does John Kane have a chance? Yeah, John Kane has a chance, sure. It took me a long time to get back to Sepia, but John Kane, I wrote the first book. Blur's done. So it's very easy to pick up from Blur to the next story. At least for me, in my head, it's easy to pick up. Actually getting to write it, I have to carve out time for it. But I have it planned for next year to finish John Kane's trilogy, which is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, but I got to get to it. But I have slots next year for it. As for Silk, the man, eventually he'll be making an appearance. If I'm not mistaken, it's next year, 2023, where he makes an appearance in the Monty Strong universe. So we'll see. Blur has many, many possibilities. It's a lot of, the story is just so much fun. I'd have to go back and reread it just to make sure I have all the details down. But the whole thing about being able to blur and the possibilities there, it's like, wow, there's a lot here. So, as they say, the story has legs, right? Tammy's like, there's always a moment in a certain project where I'm like, why? Yeah, the same thing with the book. I could be in the middle of a book and I'm like, why do I put myself through this? Why? Right? And so you get past that. That's where the perseverance comes in. And you have to understand, at least as an author, as a creative, this is your passion. That doesn't mean it's always going to be wake up, yay, I got to do this. It's so much fun. There are going to be moments where it's going to be like, why? Because it's your passion. And you have to have the patience to see it through and the perseverance to see it through. And that's basically what it comes down to as an author. There are a lot of people who, when they have books, and you need to ask them, say, I have this great story I want to start. That's great, and you need that. But it's not the starting only. You got to get to the finishing part. And that's where a lot of authors struggle, because the finishing part, to write those two words, the end, it can take months, years, decades. It depends on who the person is. But to get to those two words is one of the hardest, yet one of the most satisfying things you can do as an author. Getting to the end, finishing it, wrapping it up. Doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, but it's going to be done. And that's the other part that's hard for authors. That fourth P that they add, it has to be perfect. That's never going to happen. You just have to know when it's done and get it out and ship it. Get it done, get it edited to the best of your ability, and then get it out. Because if you say, hang on, I got to polish this, I got to fix this, you're never going to ship. And if you never ship, you're not going to get to the next story. You're always going to be working on that one story. It needs to be polished even more. It needs to be fixed even more. And by the time you know, you're working on one story for 20 years. And I guess you could be like Harper Lee. I think she only wrote 2 books in her whole lifetime, right? She wrote To Kill a Mockingbird, then she wrote the second book. I don't know what the second, I forgot the title of the second book. She only wrote 2 books, to my knowledge. I don't know if she wrote more. But it's like that, You stick with one book for too long. I don't think that was her particular situation. I think she wrote To Kill a Mockingbird, and she was like, okay, I got the book out, I'm done, I'm good. And then later on in her life, she said, you know what, I'm going to write the sequel or something else, But same thing, yeah, with the Gone, who wrote Gone with the Wind? Jeez. Because for me, I always associate Gone with the Wind with the movie, right? Not with the book. But the same thing, Gone with the Wind, I think that author only wrote Gone with the Wind. Now, mind you, Gone with the Wind is an incredible story. But if they could come up with that story, imagine what other story they might have had that they could have explored. It's interesting to consider that, Margaret, yeah, I'll look it up because things like that stick with me. So, as an author, it's good to have tangents, but it's good to finish. Look, if you want to have one principle, one philosophy as an author, as a creative, finish what you start. Don't leave so many things hanging, because then you end up with me, like I did with Sepia. I managed to finish it, But it took 4 years between book 3 and book 4 and 5. 4 years. It's like so long. I mean, for me, that is a lifetime of writing. 4 years. Mind you, I wasn't writing. It wasn't like I just sat there and didn't do anything. I was writing Monty and Strong. But if you are following Sepia, you had to wait 4 years between book 3 and book 4, and that's just tough, you know. Margaret Mitchell, yes. And that's okay. I get it, Audrey. That's a pilgrimage. I guess if I had to do a pilgrimage like that, then I'd have to travel all over the world because there's so many authors that I admire and so many authors I'd have to visit where Isaac Asimov was and Agatha Christie and go up to Maine and speak to Stephen King and see if I can catch Neil Gaiman. It's so many, you know. Yeah, it would be hard for me to find one author to go on a literary pilgrimage, but it's an interesting concept, and maybe I will at some point when I'm not writing, which is always, but when I'm not writing or when I take a break, a nice sized break, maybe. For me, I think the easiest would be Agatha Christie because it's already in London. I can just go visit her old haunting grounds. Yeah. Oh, To Kill a Mockingbird and To Go Set a Watchman. Okay, see, 2 books in her whole life. It happens, right? Oh, Chris says, I started with Sepia. Thank you for forgiving me. I apologize profusely to all the readers who started with Sepia and had to wait 4 years between book 3 and book 4. That is hard to do. It's very hard to do. But hopefully, yeah, I like times like, yeah, take a break. I know. I said that with a straight face. I don't think it's gonna happen. But it's hard as a reader when you have to wait that long. And I sympathize with all those readers who read authors who have decided to pause. It's tough. I decided not to pause. I decided to follow a tangent. So I followed Monty Strong, and here we are, book 18. And thankfully, I was able to go back to Sepia and finish it, which is awesome, you know. But I know you and I both know that there are authors who've gone on a tangent and then never came back. And that's rough because, like I've always said, there's a contract between a reader and an author. Like it's unspoken, but it's like, I'm gonna read your book, and if it's a series, you promise to finish the series or promise to take me on enough of the story that I'm gonna read this book and enjoy it. But you're not gonna leave me hanging. Basically, is the contract. You're not going to leave me hanging. For me personally, it seems like a betrayal when you have unfinished stories, which is why I try to never leave stories unfinished. And even if you look at Monty and Strong, every book is pretty much a finished story, right? With an overarching arc throughout the whole thing, right? But you should finish that story for the reader because they're giving you something that's the most precious and important thing. They're giving you, as an author, they're giving you their time and attention. And that's, a non-renewable resource. Giving someone your time is non-renewable. You don't get that time back. So if I give you 2 or 3 hours or 10 hours in your series and then you leave me on a cliffhanger, I feel like it's a betrayal. I feel like, man, I gave you all this time and you left me like this? What? So if that's how you feel as a reader, it's how you should feel as an author too, on the other side of that contract, right? You can't leave your readers hanging. You've got to be able to say, this is how it ends, or this is how I wanted to end it. And like Audrey says, not just unfinished. You have to give it the time that it should have. You have to give it the time so it doesn't feel rushed. Let me tell you, readers are savvy. Readers will tell when you rush a book, and readers can tell if you no longer are enjoying the writing. It's the most interesting thing because there's not a part that says, okay, this author no longer enjoys their writing, but it comes through in the story. It comes through that the author's no longer having fun writing. And so if you're no longer enjoying your writing as an author, you can trust that your readers are going to pick up on that. And something, it may not be that they can point to one thing and say, this author no longer enjoys what they're doing, but a general feel will be there in the book, and the reader will be like, yeah, I get the feeling they're not enjoying the storytelling anymore. And they stop reading. It's that simple. Tommy says, that is one of the reasons why I usually prefer finished series. I read fast and have been burned by authors that didn't finish what they started. I get life happens and interest wanes, but it is still frustrating. It is frustrating. And so at some point in the future, Mountain Strong will come to a conclusion. I don't know when, because at this point I have 40 books scheduled. So I don't know when that's going to happen. But I do intend at some point way in the future to close the series. It has to happen at some point. I can't just keep going on forever. Unless I get the tribe. I get one of the Valkyries to pick up writing, and then she can continue the story. And then I start really, really sharing with her how the characters are, and she reads all the books, and then she can be like, okay, I'm going to continue the story. That would be the other option, right? All right, guys, look. Wow, we're 5 minutes over, but it's the last show of the year, so we can go over just a little bit, but not too much, okay? Yeah, Enid, I know. And I didn't want to get into that, but you can't, it's every writer is different, right? It's tough, but I always fall back to it's an agreement, right? It's an unspoken agreement, contract, however you want to call it. If someone picks up your book, what you're saying is, I'm going to write something interesting enough for you to devote time to this book. And the reader on the other side says, I'm going to suspend my disbelief enough to jump into the story and enjoy it. And so it's that kind of agreement between author and reader. Dan, take care. I gotta flee, as the movie says. Have a fantastic holiday season, Christmas, New Year's, everything. Yeah, Chris, I used to wait years, a year, 2 years between books, so it's not like it's new. Yeah, I think what happened with Arthur Conan Doyle, is that he got trapped. Oh, Zoya! He got trapped into a character that he probably thought wasn't going to take off. And he got stuck he tried to kill Holmes, and he couldn't. He deliberately had him fall off the cliff with Moriarty, right? And the uproar was so great that he had to write some kind of, he didn't really die, or he didn't really, die in the fall. He got saved or something. He couldn't kill Holmes. It would be like me trying to kill Monty and Simon or Peaches. It's just not going to happen. It wouldn't happen. Now, granted, I don't hate my characters, so that's a definite plus. But I can't imagine writing a character that you don't like and then having to keep writing that character. That would be tough. That would be really, really hard. And look, Holmes has so fascinated people that the character has stood the test of time, because we still talk about Sherlock Holmes, and they still do reboots of Sherlock Holmes to this day, Let's see. Hello, Zoya. Welcome. Do you think his despair over losing his wife influences this client? Yes. So when he's asking, do you think Arthur Conan Doyle's despair over losing his wife influenced his decline in the Holmes stories? I think serious and major life changes will impact an author, because most authors, most writers, most creatives, even if they say they aren't, are very sensitive people to what's happening around them. They kind of have to have an environment that facilitates the creativity. And if that's disrupted, like let's take Jim Butcher, for example, right? Harry Dresden. The gap, he had a 5-year gap between 2 books, but in that 5-year gap, he was getting divorced, he was moving, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So all that upheaval does not make for easy writing. So I can see Doyle's losing his wife influencing his writing, or his decline in the Holmes story, because it's a major upheaval in his life, and he lost his partner, and that's got to be the most major of upheavals. And so, yeah, I can see that happening. Oh, Rain is here too. Hello, Rain. Welcome. Hey, guys. Let's see. Don't hurt the dog. The readers will... Yes, I learned my lesson. Don't hurt the dog. The readers will hunt you. That should be right up there with after, maybe before, finish what you start, because you do not hurt the animals. Do not hurt the animals. No. Oh, welcome back, Marie. I'm sorry Well, be careful in the lightning storm. And I know sometimes that could affect everything that's happening. And Dolly and the Valkyries, drive carefully. It's still raining out there. So it's raining hard out there. So, okay, so we're going to wrap this up. Yeah, I know she's driving. I know. So that's why I don't want her to. Please don't tell her not to communicate because she's driving and I don't want to hear, that something happened. So tell her to focus on the road and that I say hello. So guys, look, it's fantastic to be here with you guys. It's always great to have the Kaffeeklatsch, to go klatsching, as Chris says. It's always great to go klatsching. I can't believe with episode 84. I can't believe it. It's amazing. So I want to wish you all a fantastic holiday season, whatever you celebrate, Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever it is. I don't know that many off the top of my head, but I know there are quite a few at this time of the year. And a wonderful and healthy and amazing new year, surrounded by family and friends and people that care about you and people that you care about. Be safe and, have a great, great end of the year. I'll be floating around in the rooms, but I'm not going to be active in the rooms. We have, and neither will the mods as much. I mean, the mods will be there because the pack is always watching, right? But we're going to take a little bit of a step back so that everybody can have these 2 weeks, maybe 3. I think it's 2 weeks to relax and take, just have some time off to just step away from the room a little bit and enjoy their time. And so I want to wish you guys all a great holiday season. And Broken Magic will come out next week, and you guys can read that and let me know what you think, because I thought it was a fun write. And Monty's going through some serious changes, so is Simon. And you get to meet a new person in the family for a while, at least. I'm not going to give any spoilers, and I want you guys to let me know how you think. But have a great holiday, guys. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys in the mob, because we talk and we chat every so often. And have a happy, happy new year, and I hope that this year that comes is going to be full of joy and health and success. And as always, guys, always be uncommon.